Hey folks, hopefully you can see me and hear me. I will be talking about some YouTube shenanigans today. In the meantime, as people start to stroll on in, I'm going to text Sam Oster, let her know that we're live so we can send out the live stream text and all of that. So while you get settled in, please go ahead and smash the like button. We have lots to talk about today, some unfortunate things, some shenanigans. As I said, YouTube is currently not a friend of the coup, even though I am in fact live streaming on YouTube as well as our other platforms. Okay, I'm live. Although I realized to make myself public on the YouTube. Okay, so let me check things here. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. You've probably noticed that I haven't been live at all, really, unless it's been with Jordan a couple times since about November. Maybe some of you saw that I was live with Tina. We had a really fun live stream together. I've been live with Jordan a couple of times. So I'm really thinking that Jordan needs a major break. It's been a long time with this long hauler COVID, and so he has more than pulled his weight. So I'm gonna be taking over here and forcing him essentially to take some rest. But of course that didn't go well, because today was supposed to be really his first day of rest, and we got this message from YouTube, which I will be getting into. So people are coming in. We're gonna go over all the terribleness. I'm gonna try to keep a smile on my face. I've been dealing with YouTube all day. I've been trying to put out this major fire, and truly I tweeted this right before I got on the stream. I said the only thing that can kind of keep me sane right now is you guys, the status quo viewers. So I decided to not do the countdown today. I'm just gonna kind of just gonna talk to you guys, take questions, tell you what's going on, because I know there are a lot of questions, and then because I know you missed Jordan, there is an incredible interview that Jordan did with David Sirota that I will play, that you guys will really enjoy. So that's going to be part of this live stream. I don't think it's going to be a super long live stream. It's Thursday, almost the end of the week here. So we're going to hang tough. We're going to hang together. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Yeah, I'll fill you in on how I'm feeling. Let me know if it sounds okay. I have my fan, as you guys might have seen when I was live with Tina, I have my fan on my face. So as part of this long hauler COVID, I don't want to repeat myself over and over, but I got COVID back in November by attending a Rudy Giuliani event, the one where like the hair dye was melting down his face from his really weird looking son, Andrew Giuliani. Anyway, so I have had this, oh, I'm getting texts from Jordan too about thumbnails and things like that. So anyway, I will handle all of this at the same time. But as fate may have it, I have had the long hauler version of COVID. So while I didn't end up in the hospital, back when COVID for me was at its full force, I have been dealing with the symptoms all along. So it's getting better. It's getting much better. So really what's left now is massive fatigue and fever, low-grade fever. But part of that is I just sweat and I feel so just hot a lot of the time because it's of this low-grade fever. It's like 99.5 fever, 99.7 fever. So I have this little fan, this little USB powered fan that I plug into my computer. So it's on my face. So I was really hoping to keep it away from the microphone. So it seems like people are saying that it's okay. Okay, good. So the text just went out. Thank you so much, Sam. That is Sam in the chat. Give her a major shout out. Colin just put in the thumbnail for me. I had put it in YouTube as usual. I have no idea what YouTube's deal is. Somehow it didn't end up going in, but if you take a gander at it, it is really good, as Colin's thumbnails always are, with Jordan and David Sirota with Biden in the middle. So I know you guys will really get a lot out of this interview. It goes along with something that we've been talking about all this week. Joe Biden is he's making a play for progressives. He's doing some things that are really good and that kind of make progressives turn around and go, okay, it's not so bad. He's doing some good things, and it's just enough that I'm worried that some people, even some Bernie supporters, even some people who were kind of woken up in 2016, 2020, are going to be lulled back to sleep. That's really a worry of mine, because Joe Biden, he's got that Grandpa Joe thing going on. He's got that Amtrak Joe thing going on. Hunter just came out with a book this week where Brian Stelter's going on his show. I can't remember what he said about it. He was like, he was calling it like astonishing and like acting like it was, this book is like the second coming of Jesus. And it's just like Hunter Biden. Yeah, I feel for him. But what is, Hunter Biden has had a really tough time with drugs. He's had a hard life. He lost his mother and his baby sister. He was really, really hurt as a young boy in that car accident. He lost his brother. It's been a devastating life. His struggle with drugs, it's horrible. It's a disease. But does Joe Biden give a crap about all the people who've been incarcerated, all the black men who've been incarcerated? Crime bill, just all, does Joe Biden care about that stuff? So warm and fuzzy Grandpa Joe and rehabilitated Hunter Biden, just to show Joe for show is one of the headlines I did last week, I think. So one of the things, or a lot of the focus that the interview Jordan does with David Sirota is that progressives have to be willing to play hardball with Joe Biden, because Joe Biden's not going to do this on his own. He's not going to make the true progressive moves on his own. Sure, he signed some good executive orders in his first days in office. We can't take away from that. We can't say, okay, every single thing he's done is terrible and horrible just because he's Joe Biden. I know a lot of people do want to do that, just because, there are progressives out there who, just because someone has Democrat in front of their name or whatever, just want to throw the whole person out. I believe, though, that it's okay to praise, the good things, like the Keystone. It's okay to praise those decisions. But like Tina and I reported the other day, there are House Democrats, even centrist House Dems, who are having to sign a letter to kind of push Joe Biden towards not militarizing the police. Why are House Dems, centrist House Dems at that, having to push Joe Biden to demilitarize the police when that's one of the things that he was supposed to do early on, when that was one of the things that he focused on or kind of promised that he was going to do early on? And now House Dems are having to sign a letter. So you'll really get a lot out of this interview. It's David Sirota, so that's always a great interview. It's Jordan, so these two together are a real force. Keep smashing that like button. I purposely didn't do a countdown today because I wanted to say hi to all of you, just kind of watch everyone trickle in, keep you up to date. If you haven't heard the news, it's not good. It's not good news for us at Status Quo. It's not all bad. Jordan thinks I'm too optimistic in the face of this horrible news, but I think if I'm not, then what? So I'll tell you what's going on. I'll repeat this as more people trickle in. But YouTube has been suppressing us majorly, and that's not news to you. You've known that over time, YouTube has been showing us less and less. There was a time where all of a sudden we would go live and we were getting 1,000 viewers, 2,000 viewers, 3,000 viewers. We thought things were finally getting better. And then it all started going downhill. And then it started going downhill even more. And then I looked at our analytics, and as I do all the time, but I really did a deep dive because it started getting worse and worse and worse. And even in the last few months, if you look at our chart, and you can, because I sent an email out the other day, it goes like this. I'll show you a picture of it because I did pull up the image, but it goes, here are our views, then they go, so that's one issue. Randy Peterson, as long as we have you back, we can listen to a bit of fan noise. Oh, thank you. I thought you were complaining about fan noise. Thank you. I appreciate that because it really is needed. Otherwise, I might faint in my chair. So I appreciate the accommodation. I really do. You guys are amazing. Keep smashing that like button. Do me a favor. Share this stream all over the place. Let people know what's going on. I also want to let you know, and we will be doing this more and more, we are live on Twitch. I'll get back to the YouTube thing in just a second. I promise. It gets worse, much worse. Like, hold on to your seat. What's that movie where they go, hold on to your butts? I don't think I've ever seen it, but people repeat it all the time. Anyway, beware of my little tangents. It's been a long day, guys. It's been a long day. I also got a COVID vax. See? So you'll have to deal with Loopy Jen. It's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's been a long 5 months. So we're on Twitch, which we will talk about more and more. We will push more and more. And if you go to twitch.tv/statusquo, that is where you will find us. We have the Anthony Damasco and his team are rebuilding our website. And so Tony Pisano, who works with Anthony, he has been massively studying Twitch and kind of looking at the algorithms and the best practices and this and that and the other. So we are going all in on Twitch because YouTube, the writing's been on the wall for a long time, for leftists, for independent media. It's clear, and it's been clear all along, and let's be clear on our end, we've known this since we started Status Quo. We purposely set up our business so that if YouTube kicked us off at any point, it didn't mean our business was going to fold, because we didn't build our business to solely rely on YouTube. So we're going to really put a lot of focus on Twitch. We're going to, we're studying best practices. Tony's fixing some things up, like being in the right categories and doing the right sorts of things. Sorry about my phone beeping. Jordan's on emergency bypass, so his tweets go through even though it's on silent. So we're there. If you haven't yet followed us on Twitch or subscribed to us on Twitch, I don't even know what you're supposed to call it there. I have a lot to learn. Twitch.tv/statusquo. Please follow us there. Sign up for an account. Cloudy Sky Snow notes that Twitch is owned by Amazon. I know. It's that old conundrum. We live in a society. We can't break down society by ourselves. But we can use society. What is it? Using them. I don't know. What are all these things people have? Like, can you break down the master's house with the master's tools? I don't know what the answer is, but I know that right now we can get our message out. We can get our reporting out. We can give the microphone back to the people using Twitch. Amazon's terrible. We will report on Amazon. We will not stop reporting on Amazon. If you look at our channel right now, we're reporting the hell out of Amazon all over Twitch, all over YouTube. So we can't just, hide in a hole and expect purity. It sucks. It sucks that Twitch is owned by Amazon. I don't know what to do about that. But we're planning on making a real go at that. Vicky asked, why not Rockfin? We are on Rockfin. You can also find us on Rockfin. We go live on Rockfin. Colin daily uploads our video clips on Rockfin. So you can subscribe to Rockfin, and I guess you get all of their premium content. You can follow us on Twitch. I believe you can give us tips on Twitch or subscribe on Twitch. Again, I am still very, very new. I'm a Twitch baby. So if you know Twitch better, give us tips. Email us, info@statusquo.com, Twitch tips. We're wide open. So we are really kind of spreading our wings. We've never intended to fully depend on YouTube. It is just a fact that YouTube is the biggest platform for video. But that's changing. A lot more leftists are moving to Twitch. Humanist Report. Mike Figueredo, he's on Twitch. Obviously, the biggest, I guess, leftist name would be Hassan Piker on Twitch, who has an absurd amount of views, has had AOC go on to play Among Us. That's all out of my, I don't know what any of that is, but anyway, the audience is there, and so we're going to make a go of it. We are going to do whatever we need to do. I was talking to Jordan earlier today. We know that the audience is there. We know that there's a real hunger for this type of journalism. We know that you guys, the viewer, appreciate what we do at Status Quo. We know that the people who are part of the stories we cover appreciate this. When people hear about Status Quo, and that is the big problem, people don't hear about Status Quo, but once they do, they are so excited. They say, this is exactly what we need. And it's not even like hardcore progressives, even like normie people, normal people who would, not even Bernie supporters necessarily, or people who are activists or just regular everyday people. They know that stuff's going on with corporate media. When you tell people that Flint's water is still not good, when people see our reporting on Flint and what's going on, they say, why isn't this all over CNN? Why isn't this all over MSNBC? So once people see what's going on, once they hear about Status Quo, once they hear about our investigative and in-field reporting, they are on board. So what we have to do is connect with that audience in any way we can. If YouTube's going to shut the door on us, that's okay. We will be everywhere else. I wrote it in the email yesterday. It doesn't matter if we have to return to the days of old, handing out our pamphlets in the alleyways. We will do it because that is how important our reporting is. We are giving the microphone back to the people. These stories are important. We are uncovering corruption. We are making sure that people's stories are heard, and that is it. And you, the viewer, are a huge part of that. You care. You are a type of person that isn't comfortable. You're not comfortable with the status quo. You're not okay with just sitting and listening to MSNBC lie to you. You know that there's more going on, and there are so many more people like you. We just have to reach them. So we're not going to stop. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't yet. Share this stream. We do depend on word of mouth. Yes, give Sam a shout out. We definitely welcome super chats. We are also welcoming GoFundMe support, GoFundMe.com/statusquo, as well as membership, statusquo.com/join. Why is that, you say? Of course, we are always open to that support, but it is very much in need right now. Let me get to the reason why. And I'll kind of give you an overview first, and then I'll take you through some things. So I told you already that we've been seeing a dramatic decline in our viewership. It's been hard. It's been really hard because we'll really work on some stories, or we'll pay a freelancer to do some important work out in the field. We'll work on investigations for 700 people to see it total, or for 200 people to watch it live. Right now, we only have 176 people watching. Is that, a coincidence? Probably not. I don't, that's not normal for us. That's just not normal for us over the course of our, time being status quo. So it's been difficult. It's been a real downer. When you work really hard, when you work morning to night, and again, for the past almost 5 months now, it has mostly been Jordan waking up, from morning literally to midnight. It's mostly been Jordan holding up 85 balls in the air because I've been so sick. So when you're working that hard and then you don't see the return, and when you see this suppression at every single door, every single entryway seems closed, it's frustrating. It's enough to make you feel like you have to throw in the towel. We're not going to, but it's enough to make you feel like you have to. Like, that's what they want you to do. That's what they're trying to get people to do, is to give up. So this morning, I wake up ready to publish a video, because I basically forced Jordan to take time off. I was like, it's gonna be okay. I'm gonna publish the videos. I'll do the live streams. You really need to take some time off. Go get a massage or something. Take some time. So I opened up YouTube, and as I wrote in the email I sent out, my heart sank to the floor. So here's what I saw. It was a message that said our appeal was rejected for a video that they had taken down. And we've been getting these takedown notices constantly for videos that we put up or live streams that we had done in January or so. All having to do, or mostly having to do, with interviewing Trump supporters surrounding the Capitol insurrection, surrounding the election conspiracy, craziness. This was all reporting. This is all in-field reporting, being out in the field, capturing these historic moments, being out there in the field, capturing historic moments. And I emphasize that because it's important. What they are doing, what YouTube is doing, is erasing history. They seem to have written books about this. They seem to have warned us about this sort of thing in some literature classes I remember from my youth. Interesting. But it's not just that they're taking them down now. It's reached a whole nother level, and that's what happened today. So we appeal it all the time. It's reached about 10 videos at this point from these interviews and footage that we've captured about Trump supporters and their craziness, QAnon, election fraud conspiracy, all of this. We obviously here at Status Quo are very open that we personally are progressives. We are not silent about that. We are certainly not Team Trump. We are truth tellers. We report facts. We are very clear, and we push back on these Trump supporters. We push back on these conspiracy theories and these conspiracy theorists. And yet YouTube treats us this way. I thank you for the super chats. Sam's gonna send those to me, so keep them coming. So this time the appeal was denied yet again, not a surprise, but this time we got a warning. And this warning is a precursor to a strike. And I know you guys know about YouTube strikes. They're not good. You get 3 strikes and you're out. And so they gave us this warning basically saying, these previous times they allowed us to appeal, they denied the appeal. Okay, that sucks. They took down our important footage. We complained, we raised hell. They don't care. This time they gave us a warning. Next time, it's a strike. A strike means that we would be, for an entire week, we would not be allowed to upload content. We would not be allowed to live stream. We would not be allowed to do anything on YouTube. That would severely harm our business. We rely a lot on YouTube for our income. And by the way, I've already mentioned, we've basically had our income on YouTube drop by about 70% already. So having to go dark for an entire week is not a good thing. that is really, really cutting into status quo's ability to operate. And if we get one strike for no reason, we're not doing anything wrong. I really want to emphasize that. You know, people get strikes when they've done things wrong. Status quo has not done anything wrong. We have broken no guidelines. They're saying that we are, the community guidelines that we are breaking are scams and, you know, a whole bunch of other terms that aren't suitable at all. It doesn't make any sense. So 3 strikes and we're out. If we get 1 strike, we're out for a week. And that's it. So obviously that is really, really devastating, especially after all we've already dealt with. I froze for a second and then I immediately was like, okay, so what we're going to have to do is go through the footage, any footage even remotely resembling anything that they've already taken down. We're going to have to take that down, and we're going to have to, at first I said, well, we're going to have to make that stuff private immediately. And then I talked to Jordan and he said, no, I think we have to delete it. So we immediately, Colin and we manually went through, and I'm still going to go through again. Like, I'm probably going to comb through about 5 times because I am so freaked out to make sure that we catch everything possible, because their guidelines, there are no guidelines. I'm just guessing. I'm guessing at what they might try to take down. Smash that like button. More people need to see this, guys. We have 225 people watching. It should be about 500 if YouTube were not suppressing us. At the very least, smash it, share it, let people know. Watch us on Twitch, twitch.tv/statusquo. So I went through, and what they took down, as I told you, was interviews and content related to Trump supporters being insane, basically election conspiracies, and things like that. So we went through, we found anything to do with that, anything to do with reporting on their talking about COVID conspiracies, Trump supporters yelling at other, at Black Lives Matter, Trump supporters. I have a whole list actually. Let me I don't think you guys can see this, but that's okay. I'll just, oh, actually it's on my other little computer here. I'll read off some of the titles of the ones that I took down for you, just so that you get an idea of the sorts of reporting that we had to take down. And I want to reiterate, this is not stuff that we wanted to take down. YouTube, by doing this, they are essentially trying to force us off the platform. And by taking down this content, they're forcing our hand. They're either saying you comply with this, or else. They are forcing us to self-censor. And unfortunately, I think no matter how much we self-censor, it's going to not end well either way. Right now, we're kind of delaying the inevitable, is unfortunately how I feel. So I had to take down today, let's see here. It's a lot. I'm scrolling through right now to go back to the beginning here of what I started to take down. So as you can see, I'm having to scroll quite a lot. So Trump supporter warns of communist takeover. Trump supporters were set up by Antifa at Capitol attacks. That was the one that caused the issue today. That was the one that they gave us the warning over. Trump's MAGA takes Times Square and bid for 2024, because that was the live stream that some of these were clipped from. Alex Jones thinks God delivered Trump. I took that down because I think anything to do with Alex Jones is iffy. It's a lot. Trump supporters explain how election was stolen. Trump supporters attack senile gangster. Trump supporter says we're being groomed for camps. Proud Boys, Trump-inspired night of chaos. Antifa ideology just attacked us. So it goes on. It goes way on. I could keep going. These are things, this is reporting that is historical, because these are things that Trump supporters are saying and believing in this time. Anthony Martino, good to hear from you. Just donated to the Status Quo GoFundMe. Amazing. GoFundMe.com/Status Quo. So that is just, the tip of the iceberg of what I took down today. And it's historic and it's important. And in fact, a couple of those had over 100,000 views. Imagine how much that hurts to take down. For a small startup, for a small channel like us, to have to take down videos that have over 100,000 views. And the fact that we're being so suppressed that a lot of our videos these days get around 1,000 views total, for as hard as we work to take down videos that have substantial views, is a real gut punch. But we had to do it, because what do? Do you leave up these videos just because they have a lot of views? Or, risking your entire channel? Or do you, what do you do? So you take them down. You take them down because YouTube is forcing us to self-censor, or they will no doubt kick us off very soon. They'll probably do it anyway. But this is hopefully going to delay that. That's all I can say. So I see some questions coming in. Jara says, Jen, you said in your Gmail that you took down all those videos. Why do that? Why not fight? Because we've been fighting. It's not like we're giving up, not by any means. We have been fighting with YouTube support, email support. There's no way to call these people. Jordan's been tweeting at YouTube for months and months and months. And Jordan obviously is a verified, blue check account. We have very prominent people who have our backs, and I'll show you some of these tweets as well. It hasn't helped. It hasn't helped. It's really, the whole David versus Goliath thing. We're not done fighting. I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying at all that we're going to give up fighting. But I'm saying for us to have a chance at all, we need to get rid of the imminent threats. Like, we need to get rid of the chance that they could kick us off, next week. Our strategy right now is to get visibility. We want as much visibility on this issue as possible. Matt Taibbi has been doing a great series on his Substack about this. I can't remember exactly what he's calling it, but it's TK News on Substack. But what he's calling this series, Stories of the Censored or something like that. So the more people who know about this, and the more pressure there is on YouTube to not do this, the better. So I think our real only fighting chance is public pressure and potential loss of funds and income for YouTube. They don't care about, little Status Quo. They don't care if we send them 100 emails. They don't care if we tweet at them 100 times. They care about money. They care about their image. They care about their bottom line. So the way that we're fighting, Jara, is this way. Maybe we're wrong, but this is the best way that we can figure for right now. So someone else asked, I can't remember exactly how they said it, but I want to reassure everybody, we saved every single video, and we have archived, based on Ford Fisher's advice, we have archived our YouTube channel on Odyssey. Colin did that today. So we are taking what I feel are the right steps. And again, our business is not YouTube. YouTube is a tool that we use for our business. Our business really is built on membership. So that's how we set it up from the beginning. So I come from a background of marketing and business. And so I've seen this happen time and time again, digital marketing, online marketing, online business. That's my background. I've seen this happen where third-party tools, third-party sites or whatever, they're here, they look great, but then they disappear. They go away, they fold, or they kick you off. Some people have lost their PayPal accounts. Some people have lost their Stripe accounts. Some people have, this site that was making them a substantial amount of money goes away. So you can never build your business based on one single site. And I say this all the time. What happens to Chapo Trap House if Patreon doesn't exist in 2 years? They're making like $170,000 a month. But what if Patreon folds? What then? That sucks. I'd much rather, for the most part, own the bulk of where the money is coming from. And that's why we have our own membership. We have a Patreon. We love our patrons. We welcome that income. We have a Rockfin. We welcome that income. But at the same time, our main focus is not building Rockfin's business. Our main focus is not selling Rockfin memberships. We welcome it. We appreciate Rockfin and the exposure. But our main focus is selling Status Quo memberships and giving real value to Status Quo members. That's our focus because that's our business. If Rockfin folds and someone has built their entire business on Rockfin only, that sucks. That's really sucks for them. If someone only has a business just on YouTube and their entire income comes from YouTube and they get kicked off, that sucks. Same for any site. You can never, never, never depend on a single site for your business. And so having that background and knowing that's the number one thing I said to Jordan when we started this. I said, YouTube's great. It's the number one video platform. Like, it's the one you're familiar with and have had great success on with TYT Politics. And he agreed, totally, like, that we were totally on the same page. Like, membership is where it's at. Our own membership. We, at the time, wanted to make our main focus having a live stream on our website. We didn't have the funds to make it happen at that point. So that's where we're headed next. So I say all that to say, it's not like Status Quo's going to fold if we get kicked off of YouTube. That's not where we are. And I'm not one to give up. So where there's a will, there's a way. But in marketing terms and business terms, where there's an audience, where there's a hunger, where there's a demand, there's a way. And there is a demand and a hunger for this type of content. So I'm going to show you some of the graphs and the stuff and the support we've had before I go ahead and show you the interview with David Sirota and Jordan. And I want to answer your questions as well. Let's see here. Smash the like button while you're thinking about it. Send some super chats. You did not miss Sirota, Progressive Girl. That's going to come next. I just wanted to kind of tell everybody what's going on because we had a lot of questions on Twitter, etc. President Jesus, nice name. Substack, yes. Our Substack will be launching soon. That's another thing. We welcome and will welcome. We're going to launch our Substack. It's going to be amazing and wonderful and awesome, great, and have great perks. The good thing about Substack is that you get I don't mean to give like business lessons right now, but you get people's email addresses and you can always export those from Substack. So that's way better than certain platforms where you don't get that benefit. So even if Substack folds, you still get people's email addresses, which email addresses are golden for businesses. But if Substack folds and all these people who are getting like $500,000 or whatever they're getting, like, who's subscribing to Matt Glacius, by the way? He has an absurd number of subscribers. But if Substack goes away, what happens? Startups fold all the time. These startups get a ton of money, but they still fold all the time. They get venture capital funding and angel funding and whatever, but startups fold all the time. So I would never, 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 never put all my eggs in one basket. Never. So let's see. Aggravated Progressive said, let's get in the streets. So before I take you through more of what's going on, I want to remind you that all of this does dramatically impact our income. So if you are at all able to help us out financially, it's much appreciated. We don't like begging for money. People say, like, why do you beg for money all the time? Well, we don't have investors, we don't have, corporate funders. That's the rub. Like, we're not MSNBC. We don't have corporate overlords. We are status quo. We are who we are because we are funded by you, like-minded people. Right now, we're hitting a major snag. Even through my talks and Pollyanna, like, yeah, let's go, optimism, like, we're always going to be okay. Yeah, this is a major down point. We're going to have ups and downs as a startup. We're going to have ups and downs as a media company. This is a definite down point. So we need your help. If you are at all able to help us out financially, we would very much appreciate it. Any amount, $5, $50, $500, whatever you're able to help with, whatever pings at your heart to help us through this very difficult time. GoFundMe.com/statuscoup. GoFundMe.com/statuscoup. And that is very much needed. And if you know anyone else who might be able to help, maybe some progressives who have some funds and might be interested. Maybe they haven't heard of Status Coup. Let people know. Word of mouth really helps. As I said, though, our main business model is membership. So if you're not yet a member, it's just $5 a month. And I don't say just. I know a lot of people, that's out of the question. If you're one of those people who simply can't afford it but would like to be a member, do email us, because we do have people who sponsor folks. info@statuscoup.com. But if you are able, every $5 helps us. Every member helps us, because when we have more members, it is more appealing to funders, potential investors, when they see Status Coup thriving. So if you go to statuscoup.com/join, you'll get access to our members only Discord, where it's so fun. You can chat politics and general stuff and news, and there's also sections for recipes and books and all kinds of stuff. So it's really great. statuscoup.com/join. Sign up your friends and family. You can gift memberships, etc. So we do sell Status Coup stickers, Hallie. If you go to statuscoup.com/store. Okay, so, yay, Aggravated Progressive says, if you want real gumshoe investigative journalism, you must pay for it. Next month, $27 coming at you. Love that. Love the throwback to 27 buckaroonies. Okay, let's go to, first I want to see how the GoFundMe is going. Let's see how many badass folks are feeling the coup. Are feeling the coup and telling YouTube to GTFO. Okay, here we go. Oh my goodness, it's rolling in. Thank you guys so much. Anonymous, $6 in the GoFundMe. Janine Jacobs, $15 in the GoFundMe. Donnie Velasquez, $100 in the GoFundMe. Bruce Packman, $20 in the GoFundMe. And some of this is from the email I sent earlier. Alex Arvanitis, $30 in the GoFundMe. Val Zempedro, $100 in the GoFundme. Brian Knight, $50 in the GoFundMe. Anonymous, $18 in the GoFundMe. Roxanne Needham, $10 in the GoFundMe. Anonymous, $26 in the GoFundMe. Pratyush, $20 in the GoFundMe. Anonymous, $20 in the GoFundMe. Scruffy Topaz, $10 in the GoFundMe. Mercedes Burton, $25 in the GoFundMe. Anonymous, $50 in the GoFundMe. Christine Yancey, $40 in the GoFundMe. Anonymous, $5 in the GoFundMe. June Henry, $50 in the GoFundMe. That is absolutely incredible. So much support. Again, GoFundMe.com/statuscoup. So first I'm going to take you to the email I sent you yesterday. I'm not going to walk you through it. It's in your inbox. If you haven't yet signed up for our emails, please do so. It is one of the ways we get around the suppression. By the way, smash that like button if you haven't yet. Share this stream on your Twitter and your Facebook. Back to this. Go to statuscoup.pub, P-U-B, statuscoup.pub/email, and you can sign up for getting these emails. So here, take a look at this. This is what I sent yesterday before this ridiculousness happened with the YouTube. Well, the additional ridiculousness. So this is our Status Coup YouTube views as of now. You'll notice my very, very sad emoji. So back in January, we were up here, and then we went way down, way off a cliff. We're not at this moment talking about Twitter, but I do want to emphasize that this suppression is happening on all of our platforms. Here is Status Coup's Twitter growth. January, up here. Whoops, didn't mean to click it, but it took you back to the GoFundMe. I think that's a sign. GoFundMe.com/statuscoup. Okay, so, and you can also see it's happening to Jordan's Twitter, it's happening to my Twitter. The fact is that we are being suppressed like crazy everywhere. YouTube, obviously, as one of our main income sources, is what we're focusing on right now. So today, when we woke up and my heart dropped to the floor, as I said before, this is the email or the message we got in our dashboard. Community guideline strikes. Warning, your content was removed due to a violation of our community guidelines. Because it's the first time, your account isn't affected. You're only warned once, and this warning will remain on your channel. If this happens again, your channel will get a community guideline strike. You won't be able to do things like upload, post, or live stream for 1 week. And the warning came on April 7th. The video in question, Trump supporters were set up by Antifa at Capitol Attack. You can see set up is in quotes. This was clearly in-field reporting that freelance photojournalist John Farina did. This is so ridiculous. So the policy that they say, so the community guidelines they say we violated, spam, deceptive practices, and scams. Are they insane? Have they lost their minds? What are they talking about? Spam, deceptive, what is it? I didn't even remember. It's so ridiculous. Spam, deceptive practices, and scams. That is just what? That doesn't even make sense. I can't even twist that in my brain and make it make sense. What are they talking about? How can you twist our reporting and label it under breaking community guidelines as a scam? What are you talking about? So when people ask why aren't we fighting, well, when you fight against something, you try to do so on on good faith terms. Like you want to be able to fight from a point of fairness. So we can't do that because YouTube is not operating from a point of fairness. So what we're trying to do once again is raise awareness of what is going on. So just what are they doing? Crazy. What Jordan, let me try to close this. I don't know why I can't. Oh, here we go. So what Jordan tweeted was, after YouTube has taken down 7 to 10 reporting videos from Status Coup of Trump supporters' bogus election fraud claims. Again, we are nowhere near being Trump supporters. We are very clear and push back on these bogus election fraud claims very strongly, I should add. Again, Jordan says, which we challenged. They're now warning us we'll get a strike and a week ban if more are found. YouTube is really trying to push us off the platform. Jordan said, honestly, the way things have been going on YouTube with our subscriber growth and views nosediving because of its suppression of our content, I genuinely don't know how much longer Status Coup can survive. Please support us if you can. So I am going to take a minute to address Debbie Downer Jordan. We did talk about this. So it's, you know, it's really, really hard. It is hard to think about status quo surviving under such conditions. I strongly believe in the fact that there is a market for this. Where there's a will, there's a way. And the basics of marketing is, you know, economics, like supply and demand. There is a huge demand for this. We are smart people. We believe in this passionately. I have no doubt that we will find a way. I will stop at nothing to find a way to make this work. But that's the thing. When you work nonstop day after day and this still happens, you feel powerless. You feel like you can't make it work. So that's kind of where we are. It's really depressing. It really is. And that's us. You know, we are open and honest with you all the time. You guys know how it is when you put your full weight behind something and it doesn't work out. It really gets to you. It really makes you feel like, is what I'm doing even worth it? You know, we're reporting on these important stories, but if nobody sees it, does it matter? Well, you know, the answer is, of course it matters. And of course we'll keep doing it. But in the meantime, what the hell, you know? So that's why we say we really need your help. We need your help in getting visibility. We need you to retweet Jordan's tweet. If you go to @JordanSheridan on Twitter, we need you to retweet it. We need you to share it in your groups. We need you to put this up on Reddit. We need you to share this in your Facebook groups. We need you to share this with any prominent leftists that you know. We need you to share this with activists you know. Let people know what's going on. We need you. We really, really need you. So that's where we are right now with that. And so this is where I was this morning, just to kind of show you how the day went. I said, I don't have time to expand on this right now because I'm trying to put out as much of the fire as I can, but this is serious. YouTube is going through a reporting little by little, moving to strike us at Status Quo off the platform. Share Jordan's tweet. We are lucky enough that, you know, especially Jordan has contacts with some prominent leftist figures. So we have gotten some good lift off on this, you know, what's happening, but we need a hell of a lot more. So Crystal Ball thankfully tweeted, "This is total bullshit." Glenn Greenwald chimed in saying, "The people who have agitated and are still agitating for more and more online censorship, led by journalists at the New York Times, CNN, and NBC, are not only destroying the remnants of a free internet, but also wrecking the livelihoods of many independent journalists. Features, not bugs." That reminds me, this is something that I meant to say earlier when I was going through a list of the content that has been taken down. So one of those videos that I took down today preemptively because we're terrified that YouTube's going to kick us off the platform. One of those videos, NBC licensed for a couple $1,000s earlier so that they could play it. You know, it's a very short clip. NBC licensed it to play it across their platforms and on, you know, on their channel. So is YouTube telling us that what NBC licensed and paid us for is dangerous? Is a scam? They're telling us it's a scam? What? That they need to kick us off the platform for things that NBC is paying us to license? Paying us, who are brave enough to actually go in the field, who are brave enough to send photojournalists like John, who captured historic footage, who got exceptional content from the Capitol insurrection. You're telling me that YouTube calls this a scam and yet NBC is willing to pay for it. I'm not talking about the main like tunnel Capitol insurrection footage. I'm talking about a poignant moment with a Trump supporter yelling at a black man. And by poignant, I mean terrible, because this was a horrible Trump supporter saying horrible things. NBC found this historically valuable and newsworthy, but YouTube finds it a scam, simply because it's Status Quo who reported it and has it on their channel, has it on our channel. So what now? It's okay for NBC, it's okay for CNN, it's okay for MSNBC, it's okay for CBS, but it's not okay for Status Quo. It's not okay for an independent startup. It's not okay for the people who are actually brave enough and who care enough to get out there and talk to the people and show what's actually going on. This is true suppression. This is the stuff that our teachers in literature class in elementary school and middle school and high school had us read books about, where we all sat there and we were like, how could anybody do this? How could anybody censor this stuff? That's crazy. Ideas should be allowed to be out there. This is censorship. And not only that, these aren't just ideas. This is reporting. We are reporting on ideas. So it's doubly baffling. I cannot even express how baffling this is, how chilling this is. It's just disgusting. Beyond a level of, yeah, this harms our views, this harms our business, this harms our income, this is chilling. Today, as I was deleting things, I felt like I had to delete things that were, and I don't say this at all as someone who likes Trump or anything, but I found myself feeling like I had to delete anything that was at all even hinting at being supportive of Trump or right-wing anything. And again, I don't say that as someone who's conservative. I don't say that as someone who likes Trump. I think Trump's a horrible, fascist, terrible, dangerous person, and I'm very glad he's gone. I think his supporters who were involved in the insurrection and who are like bought into these conspiracies and these QAnon people, they're dangerous and scary and it's horrible. But I found myself feeling like I had to remove all traces of them, even though it's reporting on them. And so imagine how these people who already think that there's a deep state cabal after them, imagine how they feel. Is this going to make them feel like, okay, I don't believe that stuff anymore. I'm good now. No, it's going to push them further and further into their conspiracies. It's going to turn people more and more away from reality and truth. This is dangerous, what YouTube is doing. There's so much wrong here, I cannot even begin to describe it. I have my fan on me, but as I'm talking, I feel chills. Like, chills not from the fan. Chills from what's going on. Couple more points here. Support from Ryan Grimm. YouTube's own algorithm has created an entire movement that believes bogus conspiracy theories, but if you interview the actual people they've poisoned, push back, and publish the interviews, they take down your channel. Support also from Brianna Joy Gray. I just donated and confirmed I was subscribed on YouTube. Independent media, particularly original on-the-ground reporting, is invaluable, especially now. So I urge you to do just as Bree did. Please confirm you're subscribed on YouTube, but also go right now to twitch.tv/statusquo. You will see us live. You will see people in the chat. I need to somehow mute this. Again, I am new to Twitch, so I don't know how. I will figure that out. But please, subscribe to this channel. Get used to chatting there. Sam is also in the stream here. There are a lot of great features of Twitch that are not present on YouTube. I from what Tony was sharing with us, it seems to be a lot more fun than YouTube, honestly. So please follow us there. The more subscribers or followers or whatever you call them we have here, the better it is. So twitch.tv/statusquo. And also, as Bree says, I just donated. So once again, if you are at all able to, please head over to gofundme.com/statuscoup. And let's take a look. Janice Kenyon, thank you so much for your GoFundMe. $50 in the GoFundMe. Christopher, $8 in the GoFundMe. Thank you, thank you. Anonymous, $6 in the GoFundMe. Keep it going. And also, if you are at all able, please help us out in our main income stream here. The main way we keep our business thriving and growing. statuscoup.com/join. Join as a member of Status Coup. Easily join at any level you would like to. You can see now you get access to our members only Discord chat. Very, very easy. And it really, really helps us. Every member makes a huge, huge difference. So I am going to, without further ado, play for you Jordan's excellent interview with David Sirota. After this is over, I will take some of your questions about what's going on with YouTube, etc., whatever you got on your mind, and then do the wrap up. But definitely hang around for this interview with David Sirota. It is absolute fire, and some really, really necessary points are made. So take a listen, take a watch, and I will see you afterwards. It is about 30 minutes long, I believe.
Hey, it's Jordan. Delighted to be joined by David Sirota. He has the Daily Poster, which is on Substack, pumping out great investigative content. He is also with, I think, editor-at-large with Jacobin, and was a senior advisor on the Bernie Sanders campaign. How you doing, David?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
So I guess I wanted to start kind of in the weeds because I thought your piece today on Joe Manchin, I call him President Manchin now, it was really interesting. Shocker, his opposition to a 28% tax rate for corporations seems to be benefiting some private equity and rich people. Can you kind of expand upon what you found as far as Manchin's stance and how it affects private equity?
Sure. The corporate tax rate was a big decider for major private equity firms. These are these huge Wall Street firms that buy up other companies and oftentimes strip them down, impose mass layoffs on those companies. That's what private equity is. A number of private equity firms, after Donald Trump lowered the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%, converted to C corporations, converted from partnerships to C corporations in order to take advantage of that much lower corporate tax rate. They made essentially a big financial bet on those lower corporate tax rates. And whether or not that bet pays off for those private equity firms and their billionaire owners is in part predicated on whether the corporate tax rate remains as low as Donald Trump and the Republicans put it. And so now you've got Joe Biden, who's come into office saying that he doesn't want to restore the corporate tax rate to where it was for decades, 35%, but wants to return it to 28%, which is essentially right between where it was and where it currently is now. So a very, very modest, moderate proposal. But of course, the private equity industry bet on 21%. And you better believe that their kind of financial projections are predicated on that 21%. They have also, that industry has given a lot of money to West Virginia Democratic Senator Joe Manchin. I mean, West Virginia is one of the poorest states in the country, but Joe Manchin is bankrolled by a lot of the richest people in the country. People, by the way, who are a lot of them not from West Virginia. In fact, one of his top donors are donors from one of the major private equity firms, one of the big ones, that converted to a C corporation and that is presumably banking on the corporate tax rate remaining at 21%. So what do you know? The money goes in from the private equity industry to Joe Manchin's campaign, including from one of the major private equity firms that made this bet on these lower tax rates. And what do you know? Joe Manchin is the first Democratic voice in Congress to come out and say, I am not going to support moving the tax rate, the corporate tax rate, back up even to 28%, much less back to 35%. I only want it at 25%. Now, granted, that's an increase, but it's a really, really tiny increase at a time when, of course, corporate tax receipts have plummeted. So, in a sense, you have Joe Manchin taking a position on an issue against the president of his own party, and that stance just so coincidentally happens to benefit in a very real way the private equity and Wall Street donors to his campaign. Now, I realize that's not probably, for folks who are watching here, that's probably not a huge surprise that money goes in and legislative favors go out. But in this case, I would just say, it's such an explicit connection, right? I mean, you literally had this industry make a bet on this specific policy. And then the first senator who comes out and says they're going to try to stop this happens to be a guy who's been bankrolled by that industry. I mean, it is a perfect example of how politics really works.
Well, to me, something lost in the discussion, I mean, you certainly won't hear it on Morning Joe. I mean, 28, 35, very few of these corporations are paying the actual number and will be paying the actual number. It was a recent study that said 55 of the biggest corporations didn't pay any taxes last year. So I feel like, yeah, Manchin is doing the bidding of donors, but this corporate tax conversation, being lost in that is there doesn't seem to be any actual enforcement in
that's a good point. And look, Amazon today,
these taxes.
Amazon today came out, Jeff Bezos, of all people, came out today, put out a statement saying they want to see infrastructure investments and that they actually believe that a corporate tax rate should be higher than it is. Now, some people can look at that and be like, wow, Amazon's really kind of, they're being good people. The other way to look at it is that Amazon has managed to escape basic taxes through all sorts of financial shenanigans. It's not paying even close to the corporate tax rate because there's all sorts of loopholes baked into the tax system. So if you're not paying the corporate tax rate as it is, then in a sense, you wouldn't care whether the corporate tax rate is 100% because you've figured out a way legally under a loophole-riddled system to get around even paying the corporate tax rate, which speaks to, of course, the bigger issue that no matter what the rate is, that unless you actually simplify the corporate tax system, unless you actually beef up corporate tax enforcement, that the rate can be whatever you want to put it at, you still have a systemic problem. Now, I think two things can be true at the same time. What the rate is important, and also whether the rate is being universally equally applied without loopholes is also important. And those are two problems that operate essentially in tandem to create a situation where, as of last year, 55 of the largest corporations in America did not pay any corporate taxes. Essentially, they were able to write down, even though they were profitable, they were able to essentially evade paying taxes through all sorts of write-offs and loopholes. So that's what you have no matter what the rate is when you have a corporate tax rate that is low, and you have a corporate tax enforcement system that is basically, if not non-existent, that's basically minimal. And you have a corporate tax structure that is riddled with loopholes.
And I wanted to ask you, because obviously you worked on the Hill for many years. You worked on Bernie's campaign. Obviously there's a food fight, as usual, on the left. But it seems to me Joe Manchin's one person, yet he's kind of having equal, if not more power than President Biden, not on foreign policy, obviously, but domestically. He's basically said, I'm going to shut things down if I don't get my way. Yet Bernie, the squad plus however many there are, 7 to 10, have, on the coronavirus bill, they chose, let's just take what we can get. And now on the infrastructure, they're not even preemptively saying, dead on arrival unless we get X, Y, and Z. You've kind of written about that in terms of leveraging power and why is Manchin doing so, but it doesn't seem like the progressives are. Have you found any answers? Is there some long-term strategy we don't know about? Because I'm kind of baffled. I'm not calling them frauds, but I'm kind of baffled why you do have the numbers, more numbers than Joe Manchin, but the progressives in the House and Senate aren't playing that hardball?
Well, I think I'm inferring here that what they believe is that the foundation of the legislation, the various bills in question, are inherently more progressive than the current status quo. So they believe that the foundation of what they have, whether corporate tax reform, the infrastructure bill, the stimulus bill, that the basics of the bill are good, and that if they fight too hard, draw too many lines in the sand over additional good things, that it could somehow take down the entire bill, which they care about because they would argue that the foundation of the bill, whether the other things that are get put in it or not, are good. And that Manchin and that the right wing of the Democratic Party more generally doesn't care about the good things in the bill, is willing to take down those good things of the bill if they don't get their way on the things that they want. And look, in fairness, I think that's a matter of opinion. Right? I mean, I have my opinion. You have your opinion. The progressives in Congress have their opinion on whether they're driving a hard enough bargain, whether it is actually true that in a sort of alternate future, whether a bill would get taken down or not if they draw a line in the sand. My view is that they have a lot of leverage that they have refused to use, especially on must-pass pieces of legislation that the White House considers signature initiatives, that by drawing lines in the sand, making clear demands, that they will pull Joe Biden off of the sidelines in many ways, force the White House to actually use its enormous power, the enormous power of the executive branch, to actually move legislation, pressure the right wing of the Democratic Party to get on board. And that the only way to actually motivate them is to say, if X, Y, and Z is not in the bill, you cannot count on our votes. Obviously, that's exactly what Joe Manchin does, right? Joe Manchin, I mean, literally on the corporate tax rate this week, he said something to the effect of, I don't want it at 28%. I want it at 25%. And I'm essentially not going to vote for anything that doesn't provide me what I want. That's essentially saying I'm happy to take this bill down if my demands on this issue are not met. And that's where he draws his power. And progressives have a similar amount of power that they have not been willing to use. And it's my view that if they did use that power, let's use the corporate tax rate as an example. If the progressives said, listen, we're not voting for a bill that doesn't have a corporate tax rate, at least where Joe Biden is proposing it to be, at 28%. Like, our line in the sand is just where even this Democratic president says he is. Then you've got one poll of the party saying we're drawing a line in the sand at 28%. You've got Joe Manchin saying he's drawing a line in the sand at 25%. And now you've got a situation in which Joe Biden and the executive branch has to not just sort of step back and say, hey, you guys work it out. They've actually got to engage. And that's actually what we want, or what we should want, a dynamic in which the White House is using its enormous political power to actually drive the agenda. Now, I know there are some folks who say, well, this is a lot of nonsense. The president doesn't have very much power. There's this whole idea, the so-called Green Lantern theory that kind of pundits use to mock the left. This idea that the progressives seem to think that the president has all this power and the president's a superhero, and actually he doesn't have any power. And of course, this narrative shifts every 4 years, right? Like, if there's a Republican president, we're supposed to believe the president is all powerful. When there's a Democratic president, we're supposed to believe the president has absolutely no power to do anything. It's a lot of nonsense. The president is enormously powerful. The executive branch has an enormous amount of legislative power. You may ask, well, what kind of power? Well, the executive branch is making all sorts of decisions about where spending happens, where projects go. There's all sorts of flexibility and authority that the executive branch has. Members of Congress want, I'm giving you one example here, they want spending in their district. They want projects in their district, and the president has the ability to choose that. Now, I'm not saying you got to go about it in a kind of corrupt way that Donald Trump often went about it, but this has been the push and pull of politics for 100 years, right? Like Lyndon Johnson, other presidents of both parties. This is how you wield power. And the point is that in order for progressives to get what they say they want, they're going to have to try to animate the president to use that power to pressure the right wing of the Democratic Party in Congress.
Well, I also think it goes to psychology because besides the fact that obviously he fooled a lot of people, one of the biggest problems President Obama, or weaknesses, he left his huge organizing army on the White House lawn. I mean, he ran one of the best campaigns to that point ever. He had this huge army of volunteers, huge army of activists, and he just left them at the altar. And I think right now, progressives have significantly more than Joe. There's not a huge army behind Joe Manchin other than Wall Street, whereas Bernie still has, his campaign apparatus, maybe not, the actual apparatus, but the movement behind it. Same thing goes for the squad. So I get the notion of, well, this is better than nothing, but people didn't necessarily elect these folks to get that better than nothing. They elected them, as AOC said, to bring the ruckus to the Democratic Party. So I do think there's a bit of, kind of a not using your leverage when it's just a gaping opportunity, especially during a pandemic, which is a segue to this next question, because I see the media just like asserting as fact that, Joe Manchin has to act this way because it's the only way he could win in West Virginia. And basically painting this picture that places like West Virginia, they don't want a $15 minimum wage wouldn't be popular there. Medicare for all wouldn't be popular over there. I mean, it's just not true. And it goes down the list. Part of why Trump was popular there was because he fooled people into thinking he was a populist. And they liked that populist rhetoric. So do you feel like, Bernie was asked on MSNBC, well, would you go to West Virginia and pressure Manchin? I mean, couldn't the same thing be said for the progressives pressuring Biden? Because from what it stands now, I'm not hearing anything about $15 minimum wage. Okay, we couldn't get it because the, president parliamentarian, which is another topic. But I don't see any follow through on, all right, let's make that the priority now before infrastructure. I mean, you don't have a crystal ball, but I guess I'm asking, why don't progressives pressure Biden the same way that Manchin is pressuring Biden?
Well, I think they have been brought into the White House. They have a relationship with the presidential administration that they haven't had really in at least probably in my lifetime. Meaning, what I mean by that is that the Biden administration has done a good job of creating a dialogue, of making them feel valued by having meetings with them and making them feel part of the process. It's smart politics. I want to credit to the Biden folks. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? I mean, but credit to the Biden folks nonetheless for making the progressive wing of the party feel like they're part of the conversation, which, by the way, is different than how the Obama administration treated progressive members of Congress. Now, of course, the downside is that getting essentially schmoozed, getting worked, getting made to feel like, hey, we're all friends, we're all working together. And again, I'm not against, sort of team spirit and everyone standing in solidarity. But, there's a fine line between, solidarity, allyship, and getting schmoozed and worked. And the problem is that the problem is that when push comes to shove, you have to be willing to have that meeting with, Chief of Staff Ron Klain, or have that meeting with Joe Biden and be cordial and nice and civil, and then say, if it's great, I'm glad to be here in the Oval Office, but if you don't meet my demands, you don't have my vote. And I don't think yet that progressive lawmakers in Congress, by and large, have figured out how to have a working relationship with the White House while also standing their ground in a clear way. I think, frankly, a lot of them are probably afraid that if they stood their ground and created any kind of direct conflict with the White House, that they would lose that access, that they would lose that relationship. And to be honest, maybe they would. But ultimately, the question is, why are you there?
Right.
Right. Ultimately, the only power I would say the biggest power a rank and file member of Congress, let's say in the House, has, is their vote, right? Everything else is sort of soft power, press releases and the public platform and going on TV. But the hard power that you have as a member of Congress, especially in a narrow House, a narrowly divided House, is your vote. That's where your real power is. And, another example of this is the conservative Democrats in the House have said that they won't vote for a tax reform package unless it includes new deductions for state and local taxes, which is essentially would mostly benefit the very wealthy in this country. That's not disputable. That's just data. Some Democrats from wealthier districts have said we will not vote for a tax package unless these tax breaks are put in the bill. And essentially what they have done, we talked about the Manchin example, but what they have done in the same way is say, look, we understand that our power in a narrowly divided House is our vote, and we're threatening to withhold our vote unless our demands are met. And the progressive members of Congress have never done that. They have not done. Now, it's still early. Maybe they will do that, but they have not yet done that. And ultimately, my view is if they don't do that on some basic issues like a $15 minimum wage, good example, then it reduces the chance that those priorities will ultimately get legislated.
And also, the bottom line is, it doesn't matter if you have access if they're just going to moonwalk on every promise they made. I mean, Biden made one promise. I mean, he talked about restore the soul of blah, blah, blah. $15 minimum wage. That's the only economic promise he made. You could throw in $2,000 checks, and he's moonwalking. And part of why he's moonwalking, because there's no one to challenge him. And I think AOC and these progressives, they they know how to whip up a crowd on social media, digital media, organizing, even during a pandemic. And it's kind of like you're not using one of your best tools, just like Obama. Obama could have barnstormed the country if he wanted to against McConnell and the rest. They're just choosing not to. Wanted to ask you also
and let me add one quick thing. They could be the lowest profile members of Congress. The progressive caucus members of Congress. If you give me 10 of those members of Congress who have no Twitter feeds, no public profile at all, but they simply say, we are 10 members of Congress, 10 Democrats. Our votes are needed to pass any legislation because there's no Republican votes available for something, for most things that the Biden administration is pushing. They're all going to vote no. So you need our 10 votes to pass anything. And we have no public profile at all, but we have these demands. You must meet these demands to get our vote. Now you've created a problem for the White House. Now you've created a problem that Joe Biden needs to fix, needs to use the power of the White House to get a deal that, if not satisfies those demands, at least moves legislation at least closer to those demands, at least incorporates some of those demands.
And I wanted to ask you, because I don't know, I watch CNN and these platforms, so my viewers don't have to. I mean, they made this $1.9 trillion deal into the New Deal. I mean, I don't want to, there are good things in it. Let's not say there aren't. But this is not structural change. I mean, okay, you're cutting poverty in half for 6 months to a year until everything expires. There's nothing permanent in there in terms of eviction protection, foreclosure protection. It all was just kind of kick the can down the road. So are you seeing anything in your reporting, obviously the infrastructure proposal, are you seeing anything that's actual structural change as far as, a wider safety net for people, more benefits? Because I'm seeing a lot of things that are short term look very good, but in the long term do not change anything structurally to decrease income inequality, strengthen labor unions. I mean, the list goes on. To me, it all looks like a very nice Band-Aid for a gaping gunshot wound.
Yeah, I mean, I think they would argue, the proponents of the first stimulus bill would argue that it was only designed to be a bridge. It wasn't designed to be a new foundation, and take that for what it is. But I certainly agree with you. At a snapshot of this moment in time, what has passed has been a bridge spending to help bridge people through a very difficult economic situation. It is not. A foundation has not yet been built. Now, will they permanently extend the child support benefits that were in this bill temporarily? Will they pass the PRO Act to structurally change labor law in America, to strengthen union rights, to strengthen the ability of workers to bargain for more economic resources? Will they pass a minimum wage, which structurally changes the economy to force employers to pay people better? Will they change the corporate tax rate, which will structurally change the tax system? Those are the open questions. I think it's not easy, but it's certainly easier to pass things that are spending based, that are temporary, that do not fundamentally change the structure of the economy. Joe Biden's famous comment, nothing will fundamentally change. So far, I would argue nothing has fundamentally changed. Things have certainly temporarily changed, and that's better than nothing changing at all. But the open question right now, you've spotlighted it correctly. The open question is, will anything structurally or fundamentally change about the economy, about the relationship between labor and capital, about the structure of how the economy works? Those are the big questions. Those are the much harder fights. And it remains to be seen which way those fights will go.
Lastly, I wanted to ask you, and this is kind of a human being question. I think you and I are similar in that I'm kind of just dumbfounded as an investigative reporter. I think not that it's easy to break stories, but like in a normal journalistic world, you know, you breaking this amazing story on Andrew Cuomo, which you and the Daily Poster broke like almost a year ago, on him basically handing out, you know, corporate liability shields as he sent old people to their deaths. I mean, that would be on the front page of every newspaper, and it would just be like lightning because that's just corruption. But it's gotten attention, but he's basically been able to kind of surf it out. Obviously, there's other stuff with him, the sexual harassment allegations, the preferable treatment for his son and his brother, Chris Cuomo, and his family getting, you know, COVID testing delivery. But I wanted to ask you, kind of as an investigative journalist, it's got to be frustrating when you break these stories. It's frustrating for me on the Flint end of things. I've been working on Flint. You're breaking great stories, but the media kind of like, all right, they talk about it, but like they don't actually cover it as a corrupt story. So I wanted to ask you, you know, just your thoughts from the journalistic end. You broke a major story, but because the media didn't really take that and apply much pressure onto him on the nursing homes, he's still there.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a question of impact. How do you have impact when you do reporting? I mean, I would say, look, I'm most gratified on that story that you mentioned about Cuomo and corporate immunity, that the New York legislature, both houses of the New York legislature, have voted to repeal that law. And the legislators who led the fight to repeal that law, publicly said that they would. That part of what helped them do that was the reporting that we did. So I think, yeah, Andrew Cuomo is still there, but hopefully, I mean, he has to decide whether to sign that law or not, but hopefully that law will be repealed. And so that is impact. Now, I certainly agree with you that we live in a media environment in which substance is a very small part of the pie. Prognostication, punditry, and speculation, horse race politics, all that nonsense is a much larger slice of the pie. But I also think that there are more conduits for people to get information now. I think that we are in and maybe this is just me being overly optimistic, but I believe that as dark a moment as it is for the traditional media industry, that you've seen mass layoffs of good journalists. You've seen a corporatization, even more so than there had been in the past, a corporatization of the media. I think we are also seeing alternative channels. I mean, we're on one right now. We're communicating on one right now. I mean, the journalism outlet I've set up, that's one small piece of hopefully a larger movement to create a more independent and vibrant press. I am encouraged by that. I don't think it's going to change overnight. Look, I know everyone is hoping and always looking for, a kind of silver bullet solution, a really quick solution. Unfortunately, there are no I don't believe, quick solutions to a 40 or 50-year corporatization of the media, a disconnection of the media from the population. Not to idealize the past, by the way. There were plenty of problems back in the Citizen Kane era and the like. But my point is that it's going to take a lot of work over a relatively long period of time to build a much more vibrant press that is able to not only report out stories, but to consistently focus in on the substance of stories over not just one news cycle, but many news cycles, and to really create a different kind of information ecosystem. But again, I am optimistic that that is what's happening right now. I just know that it's not going to happen tomorrow, or the completion of that project is not going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month.
Definitely. Well, I really enjoyed your work the last few months, so thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I appreciate your work on covering the story in Flint. I mean, it was really, really important. It's an incredibly important story, and your persistence in it was really, really, really significant. And I'm sure it was demoralizing at times, and maybe remains demoralizing. That story has only kind of popped up every now and again in the larger media ecosystem, but it doesn't mean that the work isn't important. It is.
I'll give you and the viewers a sneak peek. In fact, an NBC News editor last week, when I presented evidence of destruction of evidence when it comes to Flint, told me basically this is nice, but it was a long time ago. So that's the state of our media. And it's not just Flint. I mean, I broke a story in January about an Amazon worker who literally died suddenly. She was testing other workers for COVID. So Amazon literally had just regular workers administering nasal swabs. Crystal and Sagar had me on about it, but other than that, I mean, crickets. So there's a lot of that, as you know, breaking important stories, but it being difficult to kind of break through the daily horse race, obviously the last 5 years of the 24/7 Trump cycle, and now other distractions. But
well, keep at it. It's important.
Thanks, David. Everybody check him out on Substack, The Daily Poster, and we'll stay in touch.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Hope you enjoyed that last video. Hop on over to statusquo.com where you can sign up for our email list and become a member for as low as $5 to $10 a month. Membership is how we grow. That's statusquo.com/join. And remember, join our email list so we can grow the revolution with you.
All right, guys. That was a phenomenal interview. And I think, the ending was particularly impactful, thinking about, how hard Jordan and I have been working on a Flint story, but Jordan in particular has been burning the midnight oil like crazy and still is, even though he's supposed to be taking the day off. He's literally been working all day on yet more of this very important Flint story. But there's a lot of behind the scenes on getting this actually published. So keep your eye out for that. We really appreciate David Sirota coming on. And hold on one second. Where did you send? Just texting Sam. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. I think that it's important to recognize the things that Jordan and David talked about. We will definitely be posting that separately on the separately on the channel. So keep your eye out for that. I see some questions coming in. We did have some people join since we started. Yes, I did get my vaccination today. Hopefully that will help me, because people say that getting the vaccination helps long haulers. Sam did send me the super chat, so let me open my email up and read those out. 1 second here. Okay. Twitch shout out Donda83 subscribed with Prime. They've subscribed for 3 months, currently on a 3-month streak. Awesome. GD Destiny, $5 in the super chat. Keep up the great work. I know it would be late for you, but wish we had live chats in the evening for West Coast viewers. You know what? Jordan and I have thought about that lately, where maybe we should do some later streams. He actually went live with Ty last Saturday. And just randomly, they were testing some equipment in the new studio. And, you know, there were, I think, about 300 viewers, they said, and they got some super chats and they had a great time. And so, yeah, Ty was helping out redoing some parts of the studio setup. So we were thinking maybe we'll do like once a month, we'll do like the gangs back together and have the three of us shoot the shit and have some live streams together. So I think that'd be really cool. And we definitely do want to keep an eye out for you West Coasters. Faint signals from Vega, $5 in the super chat. Patty Smith is on Substack. We're in good company. I'm on Substack. I like it. Hopefully it won't get bought out in a hurry. Looking good, Jen. Thank you so much for saying that. I've spent almost 5 months just laying in bed, like sweating and not brushing my hair, like not wearing makeup. So I think it's helping to get up and to have things to, like, even sitting here in my desk chair, I think is helping. And as far as Substack, I like Substack too. I think I have good hopes for it. I think it's gonna get good. Silence is violence. Yes, you'll get more pot takes with Jen and Tina. Cameron Dumpy, $20 in the super chat. Could you contact NBC, who bought the license to your content, and ask if they'll help you get the strike removed? If they don't help, revoke their license, and if they don't help, revoke their license and tell them you'll sue for any revenue they have gained. So in the case of the NBC licensed footage, we took that particular one down preemptively. So in that case, that would be a great idea if that one had been removed by YouTube. But in this case, we removed it preemptively. I was just making the point that that was in line with what they were already taking down. So we preemptively had to remove that, we felt. So we have more super chats. Patrick Menard, $4.99 in super chat. Just tested positive for COVID in rural Vermont. There is a sense that the pandemic is cooling off, but cases here are at their highest ever. Patrick, I'm so sorry that you tested positive. I hope that you will be okay and recover quickly. I agree with you. I do get the sense that people really seem to think that it's dying down, now with people getting the vaccinations, and now that it's getting warm outside, people seem to think that this is kind of over and things are getting looser. We know that this is the case in places like Florida and states that never really did take it seriously, but even in more liberal states, people are kind of losing their, losing sight of the importance of this and the fact that COVID is still out there and that cases are rising and that we have variants. And people also don't realize that the vaccination doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. It lessens the symptoms, which can lessen the transmission, but it doesn't prevent you from getting COVID. So I think there's a lot of misinformation out there, and that people are falsely feeling a sense of, like, that it's okay to, live life as normal, and it's just not. I also want to welcome some new Status Coup members, which is really exciting. If you're just joining us, or if you joined during the David Sirota interview, we have been majorly slammed by YouTube. Our viewership has been dramatically declining, not because people don't want to watch us, but because we're being suppressed. But also we now have a warning calling our content scams, just because we had interviewed Trump supporters. So this is a warning, which comes right before strike. 3 strikes and you're out. So it seems like YouTube is trying to push us off. So we are right now having a major push towards membership, which is the heart of our business. statuscoup.com/join. These are the members who have joined newly today, and we welcome you very, very much with open arms. Welcome Martin, who has joined us. Welcome Jonathan, who has joined us. Welcome Gray, who has joined us. Welcome Robert, who has joined us. Welcome Eric, who has joined us. Welcome Nicholas, who has joined us. Welcome Adrian, who has joined us. Welcome Sandwall, who has joined us. And welcome Sparia, who has joined us. Hooray! We truly, truly can't thank you enough for joining, and it really does do our hearts good when we have new Status Quo members. We of course love Status Quo members, new and old. It's a community, which is Jordan's wife Anat coined that term, but it's true. It's not just us reporting to you. We report for the people. We are funded by the people. Our reporting is giving the microphone back to the people. This is all about you. So, and this is all about the people. This is all about what journalism is supposed to be. So everything, we are only answerable to you. And in order to fight this suppression, and it's not just YouTube, it's also Twitter, it's definitely Facebook. Facebook, forget it. We can't get anything seen there. So in order to help Status Quo grow and keep on going and keep on fighting, no matter if YouTube decides to kick us off or not, which is where it seems to be heading, if you're able to join for just $5 a month, statusquo.com/join. I also want to say thank you. So here's statusquo.com/join. Simple join options here. You get access to our members only Discord and other stuff, which you can read on this page. But I also want to say thank you to those who have donated to our GoFundMe, which again, we are making a major push for GoFundMe donations and support. Our income from YouTube in particular has dropped dramatically, around 70%, which is just heartbreaking and horrible and hard as a startup. So we really appreciate you. Michael, $10 in the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. Lorraine, thank you so much. Or Lorraine, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Anonymous, $100 in the GoFundMe. Thank you so much. Eduardo, $10 in the GoFundMe. Appreciate it so much. Anonymous, $10 in the super chat. I think we're caught up there. You guys are just incredible people. GoFundMe.com/statusquo. And don't feel like, maybe you have $5 that you're able to contribute. Maybe it's $10. Maybe you are, financially able to help us out with much more. No matter what it is so much appreciated. And you are truly funding the media revolution. You are telling YouTube where to shove it. You are telling them, we want independent journalism. We want in-field and investigative reporting that Status Quo delivers. You can label their reporting scams, which doesn't even make sense, but it doesn't matter because Status Quo is going to thrive. They're going to continue giving the microphone back to the people. They're going to continue investigating corruption, and they are going to continue doing what they do because it's important. Because it's important for the people. It's our passion. It's our passion, and we feel like this is our purpose in life, Jordan and I, and the people who work with us, the freelancers we take on, and so on. So again, if you're able to, our main business model is membership, statusquo.com/join. You can help fund us, gofundme.com/statusquo. So before I sign off, because I've been live for quite a long time, if you missed the discussion and explanation of what happened with YouTube and how they're screwing us over massively, you can watch this live stream after I sign off. But I want to answer some questions, so go ahead and send some super chats, which also help us a lot, or ask any questions you have. I might stay on for maybe 10 more minutes. I do have to eat some dinner, but yeah, I'll go for it and try to answer as best as I can. Sam did send me, no. Sam did send me a list. 1 second here. You'll have to bear with me trying to, ooh, this is exciting. This is really exciting. 1 second, guys. Okay, so Sam Oster, who's in the chat, who's awesome, who's worked with Jordan and I for years, she sent me a list of new Twitch followers. As you've heard, we are going all in on Twitch because of YouTube shenanigans, and also because it's good to diversify. There's a lot of movement of leftists going on Twitch. It's just a good move. So twitch.tv/statusquo. And I do want to open up Twitch. I just don't know how to mute it, which is a problem. So I will find out how to mute it. I love all of you on Twitch. I really do want to open it and say hi to you and watch your chat. I can't because it plays me and it'll echo, and I'm sorry, but I love you. So I'll figure it out next time. New Twitch followers. I only watch dumb streamers. Well, okay, I'll take it. Sorry, it's really, my eyes bad. FMB221, Sir Guy Grant, Hold My Bird, Lemon Mint, Schneekats Dunda, Aaron and Blair, Byranter Ruin, Zack Attack, Tim My Noir, Simon, some of these are hard to pronounce, Midgrin, Wojavox, Magic Soul, Drea's Command, Hipav, Dave D for the Coup, I'm Bajek, Silent Mist, 123 Z-Rock, and Cool Bud 17. There might be more. Cool Bud 17. Yep, okay, good. So we welcome all of you. If you haven't yet subscribed to us on Twitch, twitch.tv/statusquo. We will be doing a lot there, even exclusive streams. Twitch has some really cool features so that YouTube doesn't have. It's really a user-friendly service. So I recommend that you sign up for a new account there if you haven't already. Okay, so have any questions? Let me know. I got my vaccine today. It was Pfizer. So let me know any questions about what happened with YouTube, any questions about Twitch, any questions about our plans, any questions about anything. Oh, Cyril O'Reilly, $10 in the super chat. Jordan should entitle his news story, Corporate Media Claims People Dying from Poisoned Flint is Not Water. Poisoned water, Flint is not important. So we're actually, when our story is published, we're going to, in our Substack, we're going to, Jordan's going to publish a rant in Substack about some of this, but also we'll do some behind the scenes like streams and stuff. We'll take you behind the scenes about how corporate media does not care about Flint and how certain people, including celebrities, only bring up Flint when it is convenient, including, not celebrities, politicians, including Mr. President Joseph Biden and Mrs. Vice President Kamala Harris, bringing up Flint the other day for their infrastructure talk. And we mustn't forget Obama sipping the water. Freaking ridiculous. Every time I think about that, I just get so furious. Like, nothing makes me more furious than Obama accepting that water and sipping it in the midst, that was not even anywhere close to when Flint's water was nowhere near safe. Here, by the way, the 25th of this month is going to be the 7th anniversary of the Flint water switch. Think about how long ago Obama was sipping that water. I just cannot handle. Sam asks, what is the status of the update of your website after the hack? So the status of that is we are working really really hard with the Damasco team behind the scenes and with Tony, and trying to kind of get the homepage figured out that we want, like the things we want on the homepage, get our colors figured out, get the fonts figured out. I'm really excited because, as you guys know, I love JFK, and so the font that we chose for the headlines is called Oswald. So I consider that an Easter egg, a Jen Easter egg, because the font's called Oswald. So, so the status is we are hard at work on it. Anthony Damasco and Tony, they have really kind of cleared things aside for us because they so strongly believe in what we do that they, even though their business has dramatically grown lately, they're focusing on us because they believe in it. So I'm really excited. I don't have a timeline, but within the next few months, we should have something to show, and it's gonna be amazing. It's gonna be great. Any more questions, guys? Tomorrow, so someone was asking earlier about if we're gonna do another pot takes, if Tina and I are gonna do pot takes. By the way, we're actually not doing like pot takes. It's just I said hot takes, and Tina thought I said pot takes. But yeah, so tomorrow Tina and I are doing a stream together, so that'll be really great. Tina has a great interview with another Amazon worker, and this Amazon worker has lupus and was asking for simple safety precautions in the Amazon warehouse, and was fired for that. Has lupus and asked for safety from COVID and was fired more than once. So you'll hear that tomorrow. Tina and I had a great time. I hope you were able to see that live stream. We laughed. We talked about very serious topics, but you have to laugh sometimes, and Tina and I always have a great time together. So absolutely do tune in tomorrow around 4:30, 5 o'clock Eastern. From Twitch, founder, 1 month subscriber, Firsty Farrett, Sunday rant stream. I was actually talking to Sam about that. We're still thinking of plans, but I thought it would be amazing if, and Tina might have an in-stream thing Sunday. I need to figure out plans, but I'm thinking because Jordan will be off, and if not this Sunday, maybe next Sunday. But if Sam, Tina, and I did a live stream together, I think that would be really, really fun. We would have great analysis. We would have a good time. So I think we will definitely be planning on that. Another one from Twitch. How are you doing right now, Mrs. Jen? I'm really fatigued. I have my fan going on my face because I have a little fever, but I'm okay. I think I get, after these live streams, I do collapse. I do feel very tired. I do sleep well after them, but having not been able to kind of use my voice, not physically, I could talk. Well, I couldn't talk. You guys saw back in November and early December, I couldn't use my voice, but now I'm saying, what's the word? I hadn't been live streaming. I hadn't been doing videos. I haven't been out in the field. So for me, it used to be the case that Jordan would have to drag me kicking and screaming to be on video. I didn't want to be on video, but I came to kind of like it or get used to it because of the interactions with you guys as viewers, and because of what we report on, and because I'm so passionate about what we do, I truly missed it. And I think, part of having COVID and part of having long hauler COVID now going on month 5, just laying in bed, I've literally been living in this room. Once I got out of quarantine, like I go downstairs sometimes, but it's, it's hard to walk up and down the stairs with the fatigue and the shortness of breath. But you get really isolated, and now doing live streams again, kind of getting back into the swing of things, I think it's definitely improving my mood. It's making me feel better. It's putting me back to my purpose. I'm by no means healed. I have brain fog. I'm not as sharp as I normally am at this point. I do sometimes have shortness of breath still, definitely fatigue, definitely the fevers daily, but I'm mentally, this is helping. Getting back into the swing of things is helping me 100%. I just got the vaccination today. I got Pfizer. So people say that that's helpful to long haulers. So I'm really hoping that's the case for me. And so, yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm feeling positive despite YouTube's best efforts to make us sad here at Status Quo. But we can't be sad for too long because we have you guys, the viewers, who really have our backs. Let's see. I want to make sure I don't miss anyone. Major shout out to Sam. Oh, Beauty and the Diabetes. It hurts seeing you cry, Jen. Okay, so I want to address that video. There's a video I did a few weeks ago where there was a CNN story. Jordan texted me. So Jordan had read or had said to me like a couple months ago. He was like, "How do you feel about doing an update about how you feel about having long hauler, how you feel about like seeing Rudy Giuliani running around like a fool like he is right now. How about you like update people?" It's like, I don't know. I don't want to make things about me. I feel, I don't know. I'm like down. I don't feel good. We'll see. Like, okay, whatever. And then a couple weeks after that, he texted me. He's like, "Hey, there's going to be a segment on CNN about long haulers. Watch it." And so I turned on CNN and I started watching it, and then I started to feel emotional in watching that segment. And I don't know why. I'm not a person who's like, we're like Instagrammers are like, "Oh, I'm crying. Let me turn on my camera. Let me take a picture of myself cry." I'm not a person who like, I don't like attention on myself. I don't like drama. Like, I don't like things like that. But for whatever reason, I felt drawn to turn on my OBS. Like, I was sitting with my computer in my lap and watching on my TV. I was watching CNN on my TV. So I turned on, during this segment, I turned on OBS so my camera, like my webcam was facing me. And so I captured like whatever my real-time reaction was in that moment. And which was just a true emotional release in the truest sense. I was overcome with just a feeling of, what if I never get better? What if my life is over? Because it was a report about long haulers and how like these people who normally like were marathon runners and things like that, like they're a year later they can't like walk down the street. And so I cried, I sobbed, and after the segment was over, I talked to you guys, I talked to the camera, and I told you guys how I was feeling exactly at that moment. It was raw and it was real. And I sent it to Jordan without watching it back, and I was like, "Look, this is embarrassing for me because I don't like my attention on myself. Like, obviously, like I'm sobbing. I don't have makeup on. Like, no woman wants to put that on the internet. But it's not about me really, which sounds weird because it's like a video of me crying. But for me, it was like, okay, I'm gonna send this to Jordan, and I said, this is embarrassing for me, but if you feel like it is journalistically important to put it up as kind of a moment in time of what it's like to have long hauler, and the emotions captured, I was just like, here you go, do with it what you want. If you think it's just dramatic and like weird that I turned the camera on myself, like let's not put it up. But if you think it's valuable to do so, go ahead and do it. And so he basically said, I want to make sure you're not gonna regret this later. He's like, not because it's embarrassing. I don't think it's embarrassing. He's like, because it's really raw and it's really, it's just really raw. And he was like, I do think we should put it up. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. I'm not going to regret it or anything. Like, I don't have, even though it's like embarrassing and I wouldn't normally ever do this, I do, thinking beyond myself, think it's a valuable thing to put up as, just, anyone going through this, maybe they see themselves in this, or maybe people don't know what it's like for long haulers, or maybe they think long hauler isn't real. So for those reasons, we put it up, and it got, it got a good response. So anyway, that's a very long way of saying, thank you for caring, Beauty and the Diabetes, and others. Let's see. Busker777, society trains women to feel intellectually inferior. I think that's 100% true. Absolutely. I find myself, like, Jordan never makes me feel intellectually inferior. I want to make that clear. But I find myself in discussions with mostly men, which the progressive space is mostly men. Like, the progressive YouTuber, the progressive online sphere is mostly men. And so I find myself feeling that way. You know, when you are talking to like a group of, say, like, I don't know, like a Ben Norton and a Jordan together and like a David Zorda or like whatever. It's hard not to feel intellectually inferior. And I tend to be someone who I'm down on myself anyway. So, yeah, I do feel that way. And I do think it is part of society training us women to feel that way. And it's something I'm trying to overcome. And so someone is mentioning Tina, like that's why you guys are enjoying Tina and I together. That's something that I'm learning from Tina. Like, Tina takes no BS. Like, she's exactly like that. She's like, no, like, you know, men aren't superior to us. Like, men aren't intellectually superior to us. We're badass and we're awesome. So I love Tina to death. We have a great time together. We do great shows together. So absolutely. Yeah, Silence is Violence. You're right. It is mostly white men in the progressive sphere. 100%. And that's something we're actually actively looking for. A journalist. We're having a hard time. A journalist who can do like on-air live streams, who can also do in-field work. And I have to say, like, I would love, you know, to have, you know, black woman, a person of color, you know, queer, trans person, diversity. I would love to be part of, you know, be a company that's part of improving the diversity in the leftist journalistic space. But you know, the people kind of throwing their hat in the ring, it's all like white men. So really trying to, I don't know, that's my hope, you know, is to, my hope is that this space becomes more diverse. I don't know what it is. About it. It's a mystery though, about why it is mostly men. Question from James Root. Jen, how do you feel about the vax passports and all of that? I think, you know, so I tell you guys all the time, like I read like the conspiracy Reddits and stuff like that. Not because I believe them, but because I find them fascinating from a psychological standpoint. I always have that caveat. But the vaccination passports have been on the minds of conspiracy theorists for a long time. They've been saying, you know, this is what's going to happen, XYZ. So these people have really scared others about this. I don't care. You know, it's not like the government's like forcing you. People take it too far and they go beyond truth and they go beyond like what's actually happening. I don't care if, you know, if a private company wants you to be vaccinated in order to go somewhere or do something, I don't care. I am probably very biased because I am very, very, very strongly pro-vax. So unless there are cases, and this is where it gets tricky, there are cases where it is not best for someone to get vaccinated. So what do you do, you know, as you know, like a pregnant mother or someone who has had bad vaccination reactions in the past? You also have to think about, there have been horrific medical experiments done on black people and people of color throughout our country's history. So when you're asking people to, okay, you know, put your faith in the government, like, no, it's cool this time, you have to think about that there is, in some cases, not all, a distrust of the vaccinations for a good reason. So me being very pro-vax, you do have to look at the history of that. So it's a complicated issue that clearly, as I'm talking, I don't have my head wrapped around fully. So no, I don't think vaccination passports are evil. I don't think it's like a deep state, like horrible, like weird thing that these conspiracy theorists think it is. I think it needs to be extremely well thought out. I think we need to think about the history of medical experimentation in this country and why people would be hesitant. But we also have to think about, you know, the liars out there and the conspiracies out there that are beyond truth and that are, you know, lying to people and causing more damage in this country because of their lies, and they're scaring people away from getting vaccinated, which then harms the rest of us, because we do need more people to get vaccinated for the better of the country. So I don't have, you know, a great answer for you, but I'm super pro-vax. Other than that, Jeffrey says, Jen is a gem. I like that. Thank you. Jen, question from Twitch. What happened to Marcus Ely? That guy was cool. Marcus is cool. Marcus is great. Marcus is, he moved to a different state, and I think that he's doing, he does slam poetry. So I think his, you know, his interests changed. And he, he had, you know, he was open in saying that he had some personal things to attend to. So, yeah, Marcus is a friend of the coup and a good person. So, yeah. He's around, you know, he's still on social media, stuff like that. Patricia says, please, Jen, being an elder, 79, and a woman, trust what I say. Love yourself, forgive yourself, realize your intelligence. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. Youth and learning every day. Thank you, Patricia. I love that. Sam, can you say Patricia's words? Because I want to look at them when I'm feeling down. I like that. So I'm going to wrap up. It's been 2 hours, and I am, though I'm trying to appear perky, my brain is melting. It's harder for me to remember my words, and I am getting quite tired, and I'm a bit hungry. So I really appreciate all of you. I do want to remind you, if you're at all able to help us out, GoFundMe.com/statuscoup. Every single amount helps. $5, whatever you're able to help with is incredible. Statuscoup.com/join is our main business model. It's the reason we can, if it comes down to it, we can tell YouTube to get lost. I hope it doesn't come to that, but statuscoup.com/join gives us that power and helps us maintain our independence always. And also, we're going to make major moves on Twitch. So if you don't have an account yet, I recommend you get one, because we, along with a lot of other leftists like Humanist Report, are moving that way. Twitch.tv/statuscoup. Everyone give a huge shout out to Sam. Everyone said good, positive vibes to Jordan. Jordan is super burned out. He's been working night and day, hugely because I've been so sick. So major kudos to him for picking up all the slack. And you guys are incredible. You bring me so much joy, and I love you all. So have a good day. If you can, find Jordan's tweet on Twitter, at Jordan Sheridan on Twitter. Share that tweet. Share what's happening with us or to us on your Reddits, your subreddits, your Facebook groups, your Facebooks, your everything. I hear Facebook's down right now. I don't know. Tell everyone. We're trying to get as much attention on this as possible. We're trying to be as public as possible about what YouTube is doing to us. Okay. Blessings to you all. I love you all. Bye, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Pot takes with Tina and Jen with no pot. Just love and light. All right, guys. Until tomorrow.